We have all heard the stories of the fighter aces, the soldier who won the Victoria Cross or the Medal of Honor. But did these people really have that big an effect on the war? Today, we're diving deep into the story of a true unsung hero of World War II, a man whose genius kept one of the most legendary aircraft, flying higher and faster than the enemy. We will be talking about Sergeant Rod Banks and his incredible work on the Rolls-Royce Merlin engines fitted to the Havilland Mosquito. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Jaxom Talks channel. Today, we're diving into a lesser-known, but absolutely crucial story from World War II. We're talking about a man whose quiet brilliance boosted the wings to one of the most iconic aircraft of the war, the de Havilland Mosquito. We're talking about Sergeant Rod Banks. Now, if you're a fan of aviation history, you know the Mosquito, the Wooden Wonder, the Mossy, or the Tsetse, call it what you want. This twin-engined, multi-role combat aircraft was an absolute game-changer. It was fast, versatile, and incredibly effective, serving as a bomber, a fighter, a photo reconnaissance aircraft, and even a pathfinder. But what many people don't realize is that the Mosquito's legendary speed wasn't just a product of its sleek design and powerful Rolls-Royce Merlin engines. It was also due to the ingenious adjustments made by a largely unsung hero, Sergeant Rod Banks. To understand Banks' contribution, we first need to appreciate the context. The early days of World War II were a desperate time for the Allies. Britain was under constant threat, and every advantage, no matter how small, was crucial. The Mosquito, though revolutionary, was still being refined. Its Merlin engines, while potent, had certain characteristics that limited their full potential. Enter Rod Banks. He wasn't a celebrity engineer, a decorated pilot, or a high-ranking officer. He was a sergeant in the Royal Air Force, an engine fitter with a keen mind and an unparalleled understanding of mechanical systems. He was, in essence, a problem solver. The Rolls-Royce Merlin engine was, and still is, a marvel of engineering. A V12 liquid-cooled piston engine, it powered many of Britain's most famous aircraft, including the Spitfire and the Hurricane. But like any complex piece of machinery, it had its quirks. One particular challenge was optimizing its performance across different altitudes and power settings, especially concerning the fuel-air mixture. In simple terms, for an internal combustion engine to run efficiently, it needs the right ratio of fuel to air. Too much fuel and it runs rich, wasting fuel and potentially fouling the spark plugs. Too little fuel and it runs lean, risking engine damage and loss of power. This ideal ratio changes with altitude, temperature, and throttle settings. Standard engine settings were designed for a balance, a compromise with a safety factor that worked reasonably well across various conditions. But Rod Banks wasn't interested in the average. He was interested in optimal performance. He read through the operational manuals, observed, he tinkered and experimented. He noticed that the Merlin engines on the Mosquitoes, under certain conditions, weren't delivering their absolute best. He believed there was more speed and power to be unlocked. His focus was on the carburetor and the supercharger systems, the lungs and heart of the engine, if you will. The carburetor mixes the fuel and air, and the supercharger forces more air into the engine, especially at higher altitudes where the air is thinner. Banks realized that by making small, subtle but precise adjustments to these systems, particularly the fuel-air mixture controls, he could achieve a significant performance boost. Now, this wasn't about radical redesigns. It was about fine-tuning, about squeezing every last ounce of efficiency and power out of an already brilliant engine. Banks understood the intricacies of combustion, the fluid dynamics, and the thermal properties better than most. Standard procedure dictated a maximum boost pressure to ensure the engine's longevity. But Banks realized that for short bursts, for those critical moments of escaping an enemy fighter or making a high-speed bombing run, the Merlin could handle more. He began to meticulously modify the boost control capsules. These are the small devices that regulated the supercharger's output. He spent countless hours, not just in theory, but with his hands on the engines, making adjustments, observing the results, and meticulously recording data. One of his most significant breakthroughs involved the supercharger's boost pressure. More air means you can burn more fuel, which creates a bigger bang and, you guessed it, more power. This is especially crucial at high altitudes where the air is thin. Through careful adjustment, Banks managed to safely increase the boost. This went from the standard 18 pounds per square inch to an incredible 20 pounds and in some cases, even higher. Now, that might not sound like a huge jump, but in a high-performance engine, it was a game-changer. This unauthorized modification gave the Mosquito a significant boost in both speed and climb rate. It was the difference between completing a mission and being shot down. Imagine the scene. A Mosquito pilot, deep in enemy territory, spots a Focke-Wulf 190 on his tail. He pushes the throttle past the gate, engaging Banks's modifications. The Merlin engines roar as the extra boost kicks in, and the Wooden Wonder surges forward, leaving the stunned German pilot in its wake. this wasn't a rare occurrence. It became a vital tactical advantage. His adjustments might sound simple in retrospect, but they required a deep understanding of the engine's mechanics and a courageous willingness to experiment beyond the standard operating procedures. This wasn't something a casual mechanic would do. This was the work of an engineer with a meticulous eye and an intuitive feel for machinery. The impact of Banks' modifications was significant. Mosquitoes equipped with his adjusted engines were notably faster. In the world of aerial combat, where a few extra miles per hour mean the difference between life and death, between escaping an enemy fighter or being shot down, this was an invaluable improvement. What he discovered was that by carefully leaning out the fuel mixture at certain power settings, particularly at high speeds and altitudes, he could not only improve fuel economy but crucially, increase engine output and therefore, aircraft speed. This was a delicate balance. To lean and you risk detonation and engine failure. Just right and you gain a critical advantage. Imagine a Mosquito bomber on a daring daylight raid over occupied Europe. Every knot of speed was a shield against enemy flak and interceptors. Banks' work helped give those crews a better chance of survival, a better chance of completing their mission. This wasn't just theory, but the statistics support the evidence. The planes that had the upgrades had a slightly higher ratio of engine failure. However, they also had a higher ratio of aircrew surviving contact with the enemy. Engines were easier to replace than experienced aircrew. His expertise wasn't limited to just theoretical understanding. He developed practical procedures and training for other ground crews, showing them how to implement these critical adjustments. He selected only the best engines in the best conditions, kept a log of all the engines he upgraded. He ensured that the engines that had been upgraded undertook an enhanced servicing protocol to maintain safe operation. Now, undertaking these adaptations was not without risks to both aircrew and Banks himself, as these were not authorized. This resulted in an underground railroad of information sharing, training, secret meetings, and quiet whispers in aircraft hangars. This secrecy resulted in the benefits of his discoveries being applied across multiple locations in the Mosquito fleet. The tinkering was eventually discovered by the Rolls-Royce management. But when they arrived and saw Banks's work, they were astonished. His modifications were not only effective but also reliable. He had documented everything, understood the risks, and developed procedures to use the extra power safely. Far from reprimanding him, they recognized his genius. Rolls-Royce quickly incorporated his findings into their official engine settings. They rolled out these improvements to the entire Mosquito fleet. What started as a secret weapon for the Pathfinders became a standard feature. This saved countless lives and enhanced the Mosquito's already legendary reputation. It's important to remember that during wartime, resources were stretched and innovation often came from unexpected places. Sergeant Banks embodies this spirit. He wasn't working in a state-of-the-art research facility. He was often working in the field, making practical improvements that had immediate tangible benefits. His work contributed directly to the Mosquito's legendary performance. The aircraft became renowned for its ability to conduct high-speed, low-altitude precision raids, often described as tip-and-run attacks. Its speed also made it an excellent photo reconnaissance platform, able to dart in and out of enemy territory before interceptors could catch it. In its fighter-bomber role, that extra speed meant it could outmaneuver many contemporary enemy aircraft. Sadly, like many unsung heroes of the war, Rod Banks' contributions didn't receive the recognition they deserved. The focus was on the aircraft, the pilots, the major battles, but the individuals who kept the machines running, who fine-tuned them to perfection, were just as vital. It's stories like Rod Banks that remind us that history isn't just made by generals and grand strategies. It's also made by the dedication, the ingenuity, and the sheer hard work of individuals, like a sergeant in the Royal Air Force, with an extraordinary talent for understanding engines. It's a perfect example of how innovation rarely comes from the top down. More often, the most brilliant solutions come from the people on the ground, the ones who live and breathe the technology every single day. Rod Banks wasn't just a mechanic. He was an innovator, a problem solver, and a true performance engineer. His deep understanding of the Merlin engine allowed him to unlock its hidden potential. It's also a testament to the culture of the Royal Air Force at the time. They were willing to listen to a sergeant, to trust the expertise of the man on the spanners, and also to adopt his innovations. This flexibility was a key ingredient in their eventual success. It showed an approach that a good idea is a good idea no matter the rank of the person who has it. His legacy lives on in every descendant of an aircrew who survived, thanks to his upgrades, and every time we see a de Havilland Mosquito flying in a historical documentary. That incredible speed, that unmistakable roar of the Merlin engines, it's a testament to the quiet brilliance of Sergeant Rod Banks. So the next time you hear about the Wooden Wonder and its incredible performance, take a moment to remember the man who helped unlock its full potential. That's all for this episode of Jaxom Talks. Let me know in the comments if there are any other unsung heroes you'd like me to talk about. If you enjoyed this dive into aviation history, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.